Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I'm the keeper for this game of Shadows Over Stillwater, which is a Call of Cthulhu campaign set in the Down Darker Trails setting. That is eldritch horror in the Wild West. I am joined, as I always am, by this fantastic crew of people. Let's get them to introduce themselves. Jackson, do you want to start?
What you'd never ask. Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm playing, who am I playing? Jeremiah MacDonald, who's a US Marshal. When last you saw, he was, he found the only competent, helpful sheriff in the West and started to set up a sting operation for some bank robbers who are about to roll into town.
Exactly. Good, talented sheriffs are in short supply, although talented marshals, you only need yourself.
That's right.
Daniel, do you want to go next?
Hey, I'm Daniel. I'm playing Griff Gutherson, who's an aging mountain man. And last time we saw me, I was putting a stop to that robbery before it began by killing one of the folk who was gonna do it.
Absolutely. You didn't let me show any of the Lightning Kid's cool gunslinging moves. You just shot him from a distance with a high-powered rifle, which is exactly what you should have done.
I wasn't gonna draw off with him.
Why would you?
Hey, I'm Art. I played Dr. Joseph Waite, and last we saw Joseph, he was trading snake people for snake oil salesmen.
That's pretty good. You managed to find a little bit about your mentor and some of the mysteries surrounding that. And you got a whole jar of the weird snake oil stuff. Yeah. So that's a very good sign. And finally, Dave.
G'day, I'm Dave. I play Grace, and I don't know what this discussion about high-powered rifles was, but I just outdrew the fastest grunt in the West, and I didn't even have a pistol.
It's a story that'll go down in history, or at least in a comic book. Anyway,
is that Grace's new dream to end up as a story in a comic book? I bet he'd love it.
I don't know what I would need to do to be more comic booky. I don't know what the next level is. I've got to hit it. The last couple of sessions have been insane.
What's your name? Is it just playing Grease? Or
I was thinking Grease Gunless is pretty sweet.
Grease Gunless.
Grease Gunless is pretty sweet. But you gotta let them come up with the name. I'll just plant suggestions when people don't think I'm listening.
Why do they call you Grease? Is it because you're so smooth?
It's because I don't wash my hair.
Judging by the Lightning Kid's reputation, you're going to end up with a name like Old Man Grease or something like that. Anyway, continuing on. So for those of you who are just joining us, remember you can jump in and catch up with the series on YouTube. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Chaosium YouTube channel or following the Chaosium Twitch channel, please do. It helps us a lot. And let's give you a brief introduction to what's been happening so far. Our investigators are hot on the heels of the Green-Eyed Gang, which are a band of outlaws that they all have a personal vendetta against. Now, several of those Green-Eyed Gang members, 3 of them specifically, have been put down or taken care of in one way or another. And now they are after Elijah Smythe, who is Griff's rival and who seems to have taken the fight to our investigators. He's been sending threats and basically saying, come find me, come to the town of Shade, I'm going to rob a bank there, let's meet face to face, and I'm going to take hostages, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do all these terrible things because I want you, specifically Griff. And this is a little confusing to you, Griff, because you're not super close with Elijah. I mean, you obviously dislike him, but you thought the hate kind of went one way.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused because I always thought I was hunting him like a predator hunts their quarry, but it turns out he's known I've been hunting him the whole time, or maybe I don't know. Anyway, it's a bit strange because I didn't know he knew who I was.
Possibly when we started moitering his accomplices, he twigged.
Maybe. Touche.
There were some newspaper articles that were printed about your adventures, so it's probable that he heard at least some of the details.
We were not flying under the radar, per se.
Yeah, we've been telling people.
Very true. So we're going to jump back into the adventure in the town of Shade, where Griff and Grease are now standing around the fallen body of the Lightning Kid, the former greatest gunslinger in the West. and where the doc and the marshal are standing outside the Bank of Shade, which has shut its doors and gone into a pretty effective lockdown. There's no sign of anybody around or that's immediately threatening the bank, but all the same, it's best to be safe. So I want to ask two questions. First of all, Marshall, Doc, the two of you are preparing for a potential siege situation here. What kind of protection are you putting in place? What are you ordering the security that is at the bank, which is mostly made up of Marshal Otis's other deputies? Where are you telling them? You've got people on the roof. Have you got people lying down? I mean, obviously you haven't kept the bank open and dressed everybody up as old people reading newspapers with their shotguns behind it, or have you? I mean,
well, heck, that's a good idea. No, I think might as well keep the deputies outside. I think in the perimeter, thinking like rooftops and like hiding under windowsills and the like. I think that might be the best place for them, because seeing what the Green Knight gang has been tangled with so far, reptile people and terrible kind of virus bombs, I feel like we don't want them in the immediate vicinity, just in case that they're up to that shit again. So yeah, I'm thinking perimeter, I'm thinking rooftops.
Okay, lock down those kind of areas, make sure it's safe. What about you, Doc? This isn't exactly your scene. What are you up to at this point? You looking for somewhere quiet to continue your work?
I think at the end of the last session we established that Doc is behind the tellers, like the bank of tellers where it is the most secure, is setting up like a triage surgery area for the inevitable gunshot wounds that people will sustain, amongst others. It's probably kind of going over like, what do you do if someone ends up with their arm on fire, or worse, like how do you tourniquet limbs, making sure that he's got his bone saw handy, all of the fun things. And then once he's nicely set up, he's just going to sit down with his notebooks and just be like,
absolutely, he's getting ready. I recall the description that you gave of your room when you were performing some of your work, and how everything was meticulously laid out and you had all your tools. There's a veritable armory back behind the teller, who is still, I imagine one of the tellers is still there sitting, kind of looking back a little bit nervously, terrified that there is obviously a large collection of medical equipment being unpacked, and possibly worried that they're not in a very safe place. But the bank is very well locked down for the time being. Not all the deputies are there, because you sent a couple of them to run after Griff and Grease. And at this point, the two of you, Griff, you're a little further away. You've got your rifle slung over your shoulder, probably put back, unloaded a fresh round into it. And Grease, you're standing right in front of the body, which has fallen to the ground, blowing smoke off the tip of your fingers. What's your immediate reaction? Where are you going? What are you doing? Are you turning? Are you looking for deputies? Are you looking for new threats?
Oh, well, this was a very public duel, so I need to address the public. Make sure they're on my side here. There were like a lot of people that gathered around, right? Like we called him out in the middle of the street.
Yeah, and some people managed to recognize him or recognize his reputation. So a lot of people sort of froze. Now, there was, of course, murder in the middle of a street is a little more common in the West, and duels are an established trend, but you still have gunned down someone in the middle of the road, which isn't exactly a full goody move. So a lot of people are now scattering and running. Some people are crouching behind makeshift barricades and peeking over, desperate to get some kind of news. If you want a quote for the comic book, now is the time.
Yeah.
A phrase that will live in infamy.
I'll put them all at ease. I don't have an individual quote, but I'll turn to the people as I holster my absent weapon, and I'll say, people of Shade, today y'all have witnessed the rightful duel between one Grease in the lawful posse of Marshal Jeremiah MacDonald, who has defeated the villain Lightning Kid, a deviant criminal who you will recognize from your comic books and your stories. The duel was done without a weapon. He would have drawn on a man who was unarmed, but I lay your fears. I have been successful. And I turn to see if anyone wants autographs, signed photos.
Absolutely. Can you please make for me a persuade check?
This is where the rolls let down.
Not a charm?
Fast talk?
Not a charm or a
didn't shoot
we all
anybody.
immediately go, like any classic Call of Cthulhu, go, can we argue this?
I've got.
What about not the thing that you just said it would be?
Yeah, what about literally anything else?
Feels like an
I don't know
appraise
what-
roll. I don't know.
Could I go charm or fast talk? I feel charm. I'm getting the people on side. I'm not
ask for a
persuading them of
hard charm
anything.
check. Hard charm check.
But he didn't shoot anyone.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So a slight spoiler here, but people are spinning towards the guy with the rifle who with the
Who's
giant
walking
beard.
up
He
to
was
the thing.
ages away. They're not
Yeah,
going to put that together. The average person is very stupid, James.
If
I'll
it's
go.
no
I'll
one
go
can-
persuade. I'll go persuade.
I want to give the three immediate lines of thought that are coming out from people here. There's some people who didn't see Griff. They saw you point with a finger and that guy's head exploded, and they think you're a witch. Then there's the people who think that you had a gun and must have shot him, or they didn't see it properly, and they assume that you're a liar and a cheat. And then there's the third that were running too far in the other direction. So you've got a little bit of some uneven
Unbelievable.
ground to have to convince people on. If you're charming them, I'm going to ask for a hard check.
I
If it's
can go
fast
normal.
talk, though, because it is fooling people, I'll give it to you for a standard roll.
Okay, I can go fast talk. They want to hear this. I tell them what they want to hear. They want grand stories. Whenever anyone goes down the street on a given day, they want to be part of history, and I'm giving them that. I'm
Absolutely.
giving them
shoot
that
someone,
chance. You can have 1 point of luck.
Okay. So people are sort of peeking out and they're looking at you, and there's amazement in their faces. They start shut down the lightning kid, and that's not the lightning kid. He looks old, and no, it's him. And everyone's darting forward and looking towards you. A sort of grim token of this era is that people rush forward, and from their coats and their suits, they begin to pull small strips of cloth, handkerchiefs, and the like. They bend down and they start to dip it in the blood and brains that are lying in the middle of the street as a token of when they, just wandering down the street, were made part of history.
Okay.
A few moments later, a couple
That's
of
fun.
the sheriff's deputies are going to come rushing around, but they've been told to look for you, and since you're loudly presenting yourself as a officer of the law, or at least an associated officer
Member of a
the law,
lawful posse.
they're not going to point guns at you. Griff, what are you doing at this point?
Okay, I would like to. I am not interested in any of that. That is, go ahead, do what you want to do. Griff is gonna walk calmly but purposefully up to the body and begin searching it for just anything that he might have on him that might detail. Look, any knickknacks, anything that might detail a location of Jeremiah Smythe. He doesn't expect to find anything, but he would be an idiot not to look.
Yeah, okay. Let me
Not to
let me
search
let
this
me ask you to
box.
make a track check here, actually, as you're starting to look over this body. Now, the deputies are trying to clear people away, and they're saying, all right, folks, get on your way," walking towards you. Did he give you any trouble? Are you hurt?
No trouble. We sorted him out.
You sure you outdrew the lightning kid? Really?
Damn right I did, and I make a big show of retrieving my gun, which I did not have. I want that part to go into the history books.
They're looking backwards and forwards. You can practically see someone who stepped out of a saloon a while ago whip out a small notebook and this is good stuff. Let me get a little bit of this down.
As you walk over, and I'll hand you the gun that he had, like your gun that he had, and then I'll also like offer you his gun. Do you want it? Like, offer it to you.
Does it look cool in any way, Jim?
Wow, and
I think it has like
cool?
dragons on
I
the
just-
handle or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
I
It does
described
too,
it last
too.
time, but I'll tell you what, I think the book describes it a little better than I could. So why don't I read you out?
I'll also pull up a bunch of bullets and stuff in hand, because I know Grease is always short on bullets.
I'm sure because I don't need them. I'll take my cursory 5. I'll reload my weapon.
So,
I'll take another 5 just in case.
so for what it's worth, these are 45 cult peacemakers. They are filed down beautifully. The aim and the guard on the trigger have been taken off so that there's complete speed to get the gun out. They are beautifully painted, and an ornate Chinese dragon has been carved around the handle. This thing looks great, and more importantly, while you are using it, you will get a +5 bonus to your firearms handgun skill.
I take it and I give it to the reporter who seemed the most interested in my story. And I say, that ought to give you something.
All right. He's going
the
to
juice is flowing.
Look at it. Can you make me a credit rating check?
Ah.
And can you please make that roll with a bonus die?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it'll help.
It
Yeah,
might.
that looks like a failure, but it's actually
Ooh, that's doable. That's doable. You could have 10 points. Whoa.
5. It's
5
5
points.
That's
It's
just
12.
12. You're right. It was 17. Oh yeah, 5 points. You know what? Hemorrhaging luck today.
When are you gonna get a chance like this again?
Success, Jim.
Fantastic. So he grabs this and he starts staying up and he starts spinning around and he says, "That's grease for you, everybody. We'll get these up in the papers immediately." And people start cheering,
It's
clapping. A couple of
happening.
deputies are nodding. This is the best day you've had in some time. Now, what's your profession listed as?
Street punk.
Okay. I would like you to change your profession from street
Wild
punk
West
to
punk.
gunfighter, and I would like you to make a advancement check for your credit rating.
It's happening.
Outstanding.
And I want to fail.
And you have failed.
I have failed by a
It
lot.
would be hard not to.
I have succeeded before. Bloody hell, I have that.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Oh, it's
And
all come
9
up grace
increase, so you're
today.
Perfect.
Thank
Now, how
you,
did you go
James.
on your track check? Let's jump back a bit. You succeeded on your track check. Okay. So, Griff, as you're leaning down, you hand the gun up almost absent-mindedly towards Grease. You don't really care about this. You start patting down the body as best you can. Now that you're a little closer, this body's a little weird. You immediately start thinking of the doc. You know that he'd be fascinated in this, with this, rather. The skin is pale to the point of translucent. The eyes are a little larger than they should be. The ears kind of come down and are flatter against the skull, but they're hidden by the greasy hair. This is all stuff that you would have put together if it wasn't for the kind of understated demeanor of this character and the way that he managed to avoid attention, apart from when he wanted to command it, and then he was so terrifying no one was looking him dead in the eyes. And as you start looking over the body even more, you see that there's these strange holes, kind of mottled skin, gills, we're talking gills, on the side of the neck. But of course, to you, they're just these strange wounds. And I'd like you to make a sanity check for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep, fair. Give me a hot second as I pull up my sheet.
Also, an
and-
excellent point from the doctor. He doesn't really have much of a head anymore. Part of it has been blown away with your enormous buffalo gun. So, yeah.
So we're still putting it together.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of.
Sanity's okay, but do I lose a tick?
No, that's okay. The thing is dead and you've just killed it. So I think that you're relatively
Oh.
at peace with what you're seeing. What you are going to discover is, judging by the dust on the clothing, this person has traveled pretty far to get towards the town of Shade. And looking at it, you see the fine dust that you tend to get at the tops of mountains. It's the only place where dust on the surface level of the desert gets collected, and it's very, very fine. So looking at this person, you immediately think mountains. And you know that Shade, well, it's called Shade because it's in the shade of the Coquillat Mountains, which are just nearby. So something immediately says to you, well, up there, it's a big area, very conceivable that somebody could be hiding up there. That's all the information you're going to get for now. The
Okay.
deputies are around you, people are crowding forward. Are you going to stay and adore the adulation, or are you going to hurry back to the bank?
I will pick up the body, I think,
Yeah.
and hoist it up onto my shoulders, and oh, it's covered. It's really bloody, isn't it? Actually, I probably won't.
Pretty bloody.
You know what? I'm not squeamish. I'm gonna pick up the body, and I'm gonna go. Come on, Grease. Let's get your kill back to the dock.
It takes a moment of me continuing to talk before I presume you just like grab me by one of the suspenders and I pull it.
I think I just walked.
Come on,
past
just a
you.
quote. Just a quote, gunslinger. What was it like? What was it like to bring down the kid?
I mean, I got dozens of quotes. I mean, I'd say it was exhilarating. You know the saying about being struck by lightning? Well, I reckon I witnessed a lightning strike, only it missed.
No, the fantastic. Dodged a lightning strike.
Lightning doesn't strike once.
Spins back. The collection of you are now tearing towards the bank. So we're going to jump back to the bank for a second. I want to talk about what's happening in the meantime here. Joseph, you're in the back. You've been laying out your equipment. Marshall, you've been monitoring things. The deputies are stationed outside. You're looking around. Now, you probably heard the massive gunshot echo from further along, and you know that your companions went to try and catch the Lightning Kid. You are feeling reassured because you heard Griff fire once. Griff's gun is very distinct, and then you haven't heard any other gunshots, which means that presumably
Outstanding.
things have gone pretty well. Now, as you are waiting, though, I would like you to make a listen check.
You would, wouldn't you?
I would. And also, Joseph, could you make this listen check too, if that's all right? I know that you're currently inside.
Listen checks are always so ominous because they imply that something is happening.
Especially considering we all got caught in that dynamite
Ooh.
explosion.
Oh,
More
you
importantly,
are
it's
3
something
points
you
in that
can't do.
skill off that being a crit failure.
Yeah, well done. So it's not a crit failure because you're over 50.
I think listen rolls are slightly more ominous. Because
I'm
we
not
all.
paying attention.
Oh, well
lost that hearing.
done.
Oh!
Good God.
I think that's my first.
Well,
crit.
we are running the gambit
Well
today,
done.
aren't we?
Yeah. Is that your first crit of the campaign,
I
really?
feel like it might be.
Wow.
We'll take it.
So you're standing inside the bank. You've heard that gunshot there, and in fact, you could practically hear the wet thunk of bullet hitting flesh. You know that Griff's done well. As you turn back towards your companions at the bank, you're ready to guard. You're ready to protect. You hear just faintly, not coming from the town, coming from the outskirts. And because you got a crit, you actually are able to isolate. No, it's not one set. It's 2, maybe 3 points where you can hear rapid gunfire. The kind of gunfire that isn't target driven. No one's getting shot at, but there is terror that is being spread. The kind of gunfire that comes from somebody whipping out a pistol and firing into the air again and again. You can hear it at a couple of points, not near the bank, but further away. Most of the deputies can't hear it, but maybe you glance around and you see one of them craning their head. Maybe they've heard it too. Meanwhile, Joseph is busy. You know, you can hear the sound of leather being pulled across sharpened steel as he prepares his doctor's bag. So
I will also add to that just because it's a critical, and also I think it's funny, Jamie, if you don't mind.
please.
Definitely that weird snake language. Like Joseph is 100% still muttering to himself in like partially English, but also partially Narca. Like every now and again, there's just this weird syllabant.
Which is just totally not concerning in the least when your doctor is muttering in some kind of parcel tongue equivalent.
We'll deal with that later when we need to.
Yeah, everything in good time.
All right, so I'll lean into Joseph's room and just bark out, "Someone's starting trouble somewhere out in the city. Let the deputies know.
What?
They're on the way. You want to pack up?
We ain't staying here?
Well, I'm just saying get ready to defend yourself if that's what you're planning to do. Don't get caught with your pants down."
Or just hold up a bone saw?
It'll do.
So while you're having this short conversation, Otis, the marshal, is going to step forward and lean in towards the collection of you and start saying, "You reckon there's somebody on the outskirts of town, Marshal?"
I think I caught some gunfire on the wind. 3 groups causing trouble. Seems like they want to divert manpower. I don't know if we want to.
Well, we already got half our force out chasing after the Lightning Kid. Now, if there's 3 other groups, I mean, if we send 3 people out to each group, then we're going to be leaving the bank undefended.
You're not wrong. Suppose we stay put, unless people are in danger. Maybe just a scout to each group, see if anyone's getting shot at. Chances are they're just stirring trouble, nothing else.
All right, well, sure thing then. We can send out a scout, and he spins around and starts pointing at a couple of deputies. He's like, you, and you can give the approximate directions. Now, can I get Griff? You've just given so many brilliant quotes. So can I get Griff, Joseph, and Mac? Can I get you all to make me up the name of a brave deputy of shade who is going to go forward and face the threat at the outskirts of town?
Oh, now their deaths are on our heads.
Oh, God.
What are you talking about?
What have you
Robert.
done to us, Jamie?
Robert Farlane.
Robert Farlane. Okay, fantastic. Let me add that in.
That might actually be a real person. If so, sorry.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry for
Rob.
what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Salt.
Peter Salt,
Peter Salt.
Barlane, and Griff. Who are we talking?
John J.J. Jeffords.
John J.J. Jeffords. Okay.
J.J. is his nickname.
That was the first to go.
All right.
Yeah, he is.
Barlane, so JJ, get out there. You head across to the stables at the edge of town and you head over to the general store. And yeah, they start splitting up, and immediately you can see those groups head through and they start to disappear off. You're still holding the bank and you feel relatively confident at this stage. Now, Grease, can I get you to make for me a spot hidden check? And this is a collective spot hidden check for all of the people who are outside the bank now, watching and waiting and trying to spot any incoming threats.
You got it. Nope.
Okay. Not perfect.
Not great.
Not even close to
not real great
perfect.
at all.
Yeah. You could have done better there. So they're actually even a little surprised when the collection of you come bursting out from one of the side streets. They hesitate, hands on their guns, and then quickly realize it's their friends, even though one of them appears to be carrying a body. And the two of you can dart up the stairs and are let into the bank. You step inside, and you are now staring at the exploded head of this poor sap who is being shot at. And the Marshal Otis is going to go, oh, good God.
We got him. The lightning kid, he didn't even get to the edge of town. Mac, you should have seen Griff shoot. Hell, he must have been 100 yards away.
Doc, what do you think of, something seems up with his body. What do you think of that?
Yeah, he ain't got a head. I reckon it's a medical issue.
Rob, bring him down. I'll take a look.
I've flop him up onto one of the teller tables, and
right.
blood is getting all over it. And I make direct eye contact with the bank manager who refused, who was very irritable to me before. I go,
So you dump the bodies, and it lands smack bang on the middle of this table, and all of the deputies are now leaning over, and as this body's hair flies out, they see the strange deformities that this person has, and they start to get nervous. You hear a couple of, oh, good God, Mary, mother of some of them cross themselves. You're in a very public place here, and your presence is making, well, the presence of the body here and the presence of what I'm presuming is about to be a very involved autopsy is going to make people, and maybe an autopsy isn't necessary. There's a fairly evident cause of death. But all the same, you make people nervous if you keep the body here.
Griff, can you bring him behind? I've got to set up around here and keep him away from ours. I'm assuming the teller area is a standard teller where it's sort of barred off. There's a wooden desk and there's bars or something to stop people leaning over and stealing things, like the oldie time bank.
It is barred off, but it's still pretty visible. And since everybody's walking around and basically patrolling, there's some pretty good visibility. The best place would be the office, actually, to the side, former tellers. That area is actually slightly closed off.
If I scouted that out, then I would just be
yep.
there.
Griff looks slightly irritated that you're asking him to move the body until you mention it's going to the bank manager's office, in which case he is then on board again. He smiles and goes, yeah, you better put it in the office. That sounds a good idea. You
grab the body and you walk forward with it and you slap it down. It lands with a wet schlup onto the bank manager's desk.
Some of your paper's getting all bloody there, but it'll be fine.
Meanwhile, after dumping the body, I presume you're going to go back and join the others and head back to the watch. Joseph, what kind of examination do you want to do? What kind of preparation do you want to do here?
I mean, you mentioned a detailed autopsy, and Joseph is currently quite bored. So, yeah, I think he's probably just going to take a lancet to this thing and start peeling it back like a frog.
Oh my God, okay.
Taking a look. I mean, we've had snake things, and I think the documentation on the devices has kind of piqued his interest on non-human biology, and he's like, let's take a look at this thing.
Fair enough. Okay.
Don't know if you've ever cut open an eyeball, but fun times.
I've seen on Chandelier. That's close enough as close as I ever got.
No.
So you begin your work. Can I get you to make a medicine check? And meanwhile, the three of you are banding together outside. Now, since you are making this medicine check, I will say, can I get I'm alt tabbed to my notes. How did that go?
You can see our notes.
Extremely. Let's just say extremely well.
Oh my god. Okay. Fantastic. So, I would like, in that case, since you are occupied with your autopsy, I would like Grease. Can you please roll me a D100 for Peter Salt? Can you please, Robert Farlane. Can you please roll me one for Peter Salt, Marshall? And can you please roll me one for JJ Griff?
Good old Bobby's gonna die.
Yeah. Farlane's not looking too good.
Pete is on it.
Yeah, Pete's...
Okay.
Pete's on the job. Pete's got it under control.
So at the edge of town, well, first of all, Pete is going to come back. And at this stage, Pete's the only one who's going to come back.
Pete's going to come back.
And Pete's going to come back first, at least. And he's going to burst back in, looking exhausted. He's got, dirt all over him. And as he comes back in, led by the other deputies, he's going to run towards you and the sheriff. Marshal, Sheriff, they're taking prisoners, taking hostages, loading them up into horses and riding them away.
Well, that ain't good.
I think they saw me. I think, and they didn't seem too concerned. The horses were already full, but I don't know why they're taking people. I don't understand it. I didn't see the others. I didn't see where they got to. In the next couple of minutes.
Well, hang on. How many of them was rounding people up?
Well, I saw 3 where I was.
I mean, Mac, didn't they only say the posse was only 3 or 4 large?
Yeah, but they got them all groups. Maybe they picked up some more.
If they got people, if they're split up getting other folks, I reckon we go after them now. Get the jump on them.
Grace is right. I reckon we got to mount up right now.
I suppose so.
Go after one of the groups who ain't come back yet.
I mean, they know the bank's fortified. They aren't going to hit here for the time being.
Well, I think if they're taking hostages, the human life's more important than the money in here. Let's ride out.
Do we have horses, don't we?
Yeah, you have horses that were being kept back at the sheriff's station before they were moved to the saloon. So you can rush back and get those. Now they're on the edge of town at this stage. You can still kind of hear some of the chaos. You could give chase.
Yeah, I think I plan to give chase. I know, sort of stand up, and I proceeded to jog out bash open the doors and head to the horses.
Okay, so are the 2 of you doing the same?
I'll go get the dog.
Okay, fantastic. Mac, you're headed out?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, you tear out the inside. The deputies continue their work, and you tear in towards the dock. Now, Doc, let's jump back to you for a second. You are having a look, and I just need to get the full details here of exactly what it is you find, because with an extreme success, you want to make sure that you got it.
I feel like with an extreme success, you might take a sanity roll.
Nothing good.
Please, talk amongst yourself while I,
I feel like Doc has seen some non-human shit at this point, and has also done like a deep study into snake anatomy. I'm hoping that
do you
basically
have
just fish anatomy.
Are you starting the anatomy book of your own findings?
What do you think I sit around with this notebook for? Other than make
Hell
notes.
yeah.
That's definitely going to be an artifact in a later campaign.
Oh yeah.
A notebook
I'm gonna
full
grab
of biological snake people, and then they're like fish people, aren't they?
essentially, yes.
Don't know.
Okay, yeah. They're
think we're
vaguely
about to find
described
out.
as having gills and translucent skin.
Okay.
There is a really weird book that's sort of about animals and stuff.
Is it this one?
And what
Have you
is
seen
it?
this? It's called The Resurrectionist. Sorry, I just had to grab it. It's like
No,
autopsies of fantasy things. It's so
That's
your
cool.
speed.
Oh my god, okay, yeah, no, I will absolutely check that out. No, this is another one that isn't written in English. It's written in a language that doesn't exist, and it's like this weird
Oh,
book of...
the Codex Seraphinus. Yeah, it's next to
That
it.
that should be a relic of a corpse.
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah.
I also need to get a hold of that.
So I just needed to check my book to get the exact rules of exactly what's happening here. It's very exciting, if I may say so myself. So you are laying out your tools, you are getting everything ready, and because you got an extreme success, as you move at one point, you're checking all of your fine instruments. You've even got like little dentist's mirrors that you use to get around like small gaps. And as you're looking at one of those, you happen to catch sight in the dentist's mirror of the body lying down, reach up and palm a scalpel and wait. It's not dead. I would like you to make a fast talk check to not give away that you have just realized. And I'd also like you to make a sanity check.
Jeez.
He ain't even got a head.
You know, last time when I said you're playing right into their hand, well, now they're in the bank next to the vault. I wasn't lying. They're ready. They're coming for you.
What's he going to
Anything
spend
I
money
can
on
roll
if he
that
can't
isn't
wear
fast
hats?
talk? Do I have any other options except fast talk?
Hard psychology?
Hard psychology, I'd take.
I will take that. My fast talk is 5.
Okay, well, hard psychology. So this is going to be you just completely closing off any sign. It's not going to be standard psychology because it is a bending of the use of psychology, but hard seems reasonable to me.
What is that?
18,
That's-
right?
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
hang on.
Yeah, it's 18
20
points of luck.
minus, yeah, 18.
18. You can have 18 points of luck.
Okay, 18 points of luck. Thank you.
Oh my.
So you steel yourself and you keep on polishing your tools, at least for a moment. Your mind internally is racing, your heart is beating, but you look completely calm, well, somewhat hyper-focused like the doc always does. What would you like to do? What's your plan here? What's your play? You can see that the body of the Lightning Kid is lying down. It does not appear to be moving. It seems to be waiting, maybe for you to get close enough so it can reach up and stab you without you being aware. It's a tough decision.
I guess my question would kind of be, what are my options? Like, because I will make an intelligence roll for this if I need to gauge whether because I have no ideas. I don't really know what I'm capable of doing at what speed for what roles, if that makes sense.
Let me set the scene a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in this back room at the bank. There's not many windows here because this has the actual area that goes down to the vaults. You can see down there and you can actually see the outskirts of the basement that has it in. You are currently outside of leaping range of the table. You're over cleaning your tools. You could make a bolt for the door and just tear straight out, and there is almost no chance that this person would be able to get up and get to you, especially with half their head missing. You know, they seem to still be able to operate, but it can't be good.
You could calmly walk out. You could just like, oh, I forgot something in the other room and leave.
Absolutely. You could try and continue the deception. Otherwise, if you wanted to go for something more aggressive, you could pick up a bone saw and then spin around and whack down really, really hard.
With the doc's roll, do they know what would kill it? Because, I mean, it got buffalo rifled in the skull.
Let me have a think. You reckon that something has brought some kind of magic, and you are a bit of a student of magic, having read all of these ancient tomes. This reminds you of what happened back at Stillwater when you saw these bodies rise back up. Something takes them over and brings them back, and it can sort of sometimes just take another couple of hits, a little bit of percussive therapy to bring them back under control. So you reckon a couple of good whacks, maybe another bullet to what's left of the head would knock this thing out.
There's also the bodies in the mine.
Absolutely. You're becoming intimately
them down.
familiar with risen things.
So my question would be, have I persuaded it enough that if I was to, I don't know, get my bullet removal instrument, which is essentially a metal stake, very sharp, because you got to bore and into metal to pull a bullet out. If I was to slam that through its chest real hard and pin it to the wooden table, would that do
I
the
love
trick?
that. Okay, you could have 2 ways that you could go about that. You can either go the speed thing and just into the doctor's bag, slam down, or you can go the continue to fool it route. If you want to interact with the body, I will be asking you for a check, whether that is going to be a hard psychology again to try and fool it, or whether it's going to be some kind of a melee check or a dexterity check. Otherwise, if you want to just bolt for the door, that's not going to require anything. You are going to be able to get out. If you want to interact with the body, it's going to take another second.
Joseph wants to know what this thing is, and pinning it to the table is one way of finding out. So he's going to pin it to the table. I think out of the options of a brawl, which is 25, and psychology again, which is much higher, he's probably going to go the slow, steady, but like knows exactly how his tools work and the amount of pressure required to do what he needs to do. So it's kind of more analytical.
Fantastic. So you turn and you start going through your bags, and you are keeping everything in your body still. You are trying to make sure that you are not giving a thing away. Meanwhile, outside, Mac, Griff, the two of you are darting towards your horses, and Grease, you are heading towards the door, your hand inches from the knob, which will take you inside. Let's jump to the dock. I'd like you to make a psychology test.
Okay. I still have a large amount of luck.
I feel good about this.
Oh, fantastic. You get right up to the body of the Lightning Kid, and you're casually holding this stake, and you can see the fingers begin to move slightly. He's preparing to stab, but you get there first and ram, slam this enormous spike straight down into the middle of the creature's chest, and it coughs up. You see its arm try to move up, but you've pierced a thousand muscles, and the cords aren't working correctly, and it sort of lands up and just slaps against your hand and your arm. You open the door at this point, Grease, and you can see the body of the Lightning Kid reaching up and trying to scratch frantically at the dock.
I shoot it.
All right, you whip out your gun. We're going to go to dexterity order, which means that, Grease, you are going to go first. You whip out your gun. Now, it is basically, you are aiming at two people who are very, very close together at this stage, wrestling with each other. So I am going to ask you to make this roll with a penalty die.
You know what, James? That makes sense. The doc's already got the bullet remover out, so worst case, you ready to go?
We're lodged in a table via a chest.
Penalty dice. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
So,
just the 4, I suppose.
fire out a shot which spins across, and immediately it looks like it deals max damage.
No, that appears to do 0 damage. Let me just roll it
I
manually.
thought 0 would be the 10.
No, I don't think it is. There we go, 11 damage.
Okay, 11 damage immediately. Oh, God.
Plus the
bad.
87 dealt by the buffalo rifle and the stake through the heart.
Oh, dear. All right, you slam a bullet directly into this thing, and it rears back, and its ungodly screech echoes from its ruined mouth. You are shocked as well. I am going to need you to make a sanity check, because now you're shooting at another corpse thing. You weren't expecting it. It's in the middle of everything, and on this thing's turn, and it is going to go before you get a chance to, Doc. It is going to grab at the stake, and it is going to try and yank it directly out of its body. So I want you to make a strength check that is contesting this creature's ability.
So just super quick, did I need to make a sanity check as well? I forget.
Yeah. Yes. You. No. Sorry. You. Did I get you to make a sanity check right when you noticed it was still up?
You said it grabbed something, and then we did the like, do I stay calm? And I.
Yeah. I didn't get you to make that sanity check then. Okay. So make the sanity check now. Thank you.
I have failed my sanity check.
Yes.
Doc's just like, I've seen it before.
Same old shit.
This is not what I.
Looks like it's
On a pass,
Wednesday.
you're just going to take a single point of sanity damage. On a fail, you're going to take a d4 plus 1.
How many flavors of stuff coming back from the dead are there?
Always good to know you have a chance of going temporarily inside.
Temporarily inside?
Okay. All right. So you spin back, and you can see this thing. Its head is hanging off to the side. You thought you had killed it. You really did, and so much of what you were is wrapped into that thing.
I was going to say, it's a real blow to his pride.
Yeah, I was kind of
building
my brand on this.
Going, and just everything comes crashing down all a little bit too hard at once. Can I get you to make a intelligence check for me?
You got it.
And Doc, can I get you to make that strength test?
Success.
Not insignificantly not strong.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So you succeed on your intelligence test, Grease, which means that you understand exactly what is happening. You cannot hide in ignorance of the horrors that are before you. Your gun hand begins to tremble slightly, and I would like you, for me, to roll a d10. Meanwhile, fortunately, Doc, you are very strong, and you are holding this spike in, and it tries to pull it out, and the two of you are wrestling over this thing, neither of you managing to quite get purchase, while Grease stands there trembling. The two of you outside are going to hear a gunshot from within the bank. Can I get an immediate reaction from both of you?
Yeah.
You think we should... I'm like looking at the horses and then back to the bank. If we lose them now, we might lose them forever.
That is entirely true.
Have we got a deputy to spare to go in there?
To go back into the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are deputies still in the bank.
That's fine, but I think we should let's chase them down. They'll be fine.
All right. Yeah. Well, I guess we're getting on the horses and chase.
As long as the GM doesn't mind us splitting the party again.
Oh no!
Yeah, he'd
what
hate that.
dickheads we are.
Don't worry, Doc.
Very happy.
They're coming for. They're
I
gonna help us.
I say, Grease is a good kid. He can take care of himself.
You just shoot the last bandit forward.
Gun barrel, usually rock steady, is fluttering all over the place, and with a roll of 8, you on the Bouts of Madness table are going to get physical hysterics or emotional outburst. I want you to roll another 1d10. And this is going to be for how many rounds you are trapped in this terrible space.
10. 2.
Just 2. And I would like you to describe what physical hysterics or emotional outburst looks like in this context.
It could be you just talking about yourself a bunch.
No, I'm not actually. A bit egotistical, but not defined by it. I think it's a bit of like a, it ain't fair, nothing stays dead. I killed a half dozen of you bastards and you always get back up. Next thing you're gonna be leaking black goo or some other unholy bullshit and ain't no point shooting you because you're just gonna keep walking. And I'm just berating it as I like wave my gun around. I think as well, everyone outside in the main bank will hear me proclaiming that this thing is alive and moving and
so they're going to begin to rush forward, but it's going to take them a second to what the hell are you doing, and sort of start tearing past. They're going to have to get you out of the way because you're just standing in the doorway lamenting the facts of life. So inside, unfortunately, that means that you're going to be trapped here for longer, Joseph. You're desperately wrestling over this thing, and we're going to jump now across to your turn. You've managed to hold it in place. What do you want to do? Are you fumbling for a weapon? Are you?
It had a scalpel, right?
Yes, that's
I'm gonna pick up the scalpel and go straight, because I'm guessing it's wriggling around. I just want to go straight through the esophagus and into the spinal column to try and like sever the spinal column connection.
All right, you fumble for the scalpel, you pull it up, and you stab out as hard as you can. Make for me a fighting brawl test.
Can it be hard medicine? I'm doing this like.
Unfortunately, I don't think that this is going to be a medicine check. This is too focused on combat, I'm afraid.
I do like the dog always arguing. Could it be a medicine check?
I get it.
You know what?
Don't get me wrong. You're very good at medicine.
Yes, and this is unfortunately this is not medicine. I mean.
I'm only arguing it because I'm doing.
Oh no! You should always try to argue it.
I guess it's because Joseph's not going for force so much as like precision on like I want to get this one spot, which is why I'm arguing medicine. But brawl is fine. I will attempt.
All right, for sure. Scalpel leaping into your hand. You stab down. You're gonna give some luck.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
That's good.
You know what? It is just lucky at this stage. This thing is wriggling, you are moving, the scalpel is tiny, but you feel a chink of bone and the blade slides along and then folds under some kind of link in a vertebra and you feel it push through into something squishy. I would like you to roll a d4 for damage for the scalpel, considering you've hit in such a delicate area, and I'd like you to have your damage bonus, whatever that may be.
I think it's 0. I don't know.
I suspect it is.
I suspect it is as well.
1.
All right. So
Take that.
the leg of the body goes and kicks into the air for a second because you clearly got some kind of nerve. And the creature continues to roar. It is going to a final time, this time grab with both hands and start wrenching this thing out. It's a Saving Private Ryan scene. Are you going to be able to shove it back in? Make for me a contested strength check. Okay, just off. I mean, can I convince you to spend 19 points of luck?
I mean, he rolls against it, doesn't he?
Yeah, it has to
But
also.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do. What am I doing? Exactly.
well, hold on. I mean, do you want to declare the luck before
Yeah.
or after?
Now, since this is technically not a combat roll, it is a strength check in combat. You could also elect to push this roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna push it.
Okay, so the
Yes.
penalty for pushing, I think, is you are going to throw all your weight. You're going to just
Yeah,
jump.
I'm gonna hurt myself if I fuck this up.
You'll go falling off the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind like putting my body weight on it and potentially impaling myself on the other end.
Oh dear. Okay.
I'll
well,
take that
let's
as another option, depending on how mean you want to be.
I need to leave that in place for when you fumble.
Fairly.
Otherwise, there's not much
Fair.
else that can happen. Oh,
Nice.
slam down, and this time you push so hard that you feel the spike embed in the wooden desk underneath so powerfully that it sinks in, and you've completely now pinned the body, and it starts to try and like frantically get up. The bits of its head are flopping back and forth and back and forth. They arrive back at you, and that Grease, you're still yelling. They see the deputies, that is. They see the creature. They all start yelling. People are whipping out their guns. People are panicking. This creature's stuck. You can have one last turn if you would like, Doc, to just do something cool. If you want to get the bone saw and try and finish this thing off with like a hatchet strike, you absolutely can. Otherwise, everyone will act and start shooting it in just a moment. So,
I mean, I'm trying to make it stop moving with as little damage to its outside as possible so I can still autopsy it. So I think I'm just gonna keep, like, with the scalpel thing, trying to, like, sever the spinal column to make the instructions stop working.
you've grabbed this spike, you've wrestled with it for a while, you've slammed it through, then you calmly pick up the scalpel, and the body surges once, and then goes still. Completely.
And then I go, Grease!
I
and
bet
I'm
it
gonna
ain't dead.
I'm gonna throw him my flask and go, drink!
And I take a slug up. That ain't water.
It actually, I can tell you what it tastes like. It tastes slightly bitter, but it's mostly whiskey honey. And it's watered down. So it's actually not awful tasting.
Hey. Yeah, it's all right.
Jamie, I think we've discussed what happens if someone drinks out of my flask.
So you take a few
What?
hard sips of this.
You just got poisoned.
Did I just get infected by a snake person?
No, I'm just gonna
I
calm him
knew
the
it.
fuck down.
I knew it.
Make a constitution check. As you start, everything starts to just feel a little bit.
Everything just feels
Better.
blurry and a little fuzzy.
Velvet Underground is playing in the background, and okay, fantastic. We're gonna jump across for a minute. You feel an incredible calm come over you. Currently, what we're going to do is you are no longer going to be considered temporarily insane, which means if you get a single point of sanity lost, you are not going to trigger a bout of insanity.
I appreciate
Instead,
that.
you can revert yourself. If you lose over your 10th limit, then we'll have to reassess. You might have to have some additional treatment, but you are fundamentally at the moment restored. The deputies are going to take control of the situation. Grease, you'll ultimately be able to either run out or stay. Doc, same for you. But first of all, the two of you, Mac and Griff, have leapt onto your horses, leaving the chaos inside, and are riding as quickly as you can towards the edge of the town. Now, I had mentioned two of the locations that were going to be involved in a battle. I said that the general store was there and the stables at the edge of town. Matt, can you describe where this showdown is? What's at the edge of town? What kind of building, blacksmith, whatever you want to mention, where Elijah Smythe's gang has arrived and where you and Griff are about to emerge?
I imagine it's edge of town. It's probably like a stable where you can check your horse before you get into town. It's also like a horse rental kind of place, that kind of thing. Like a little corral.
Absolutely.
Outside of town.
Horses everywhere.
Yeah, it's a horsemonger.
To add a little bit of character to all of this, it is the Jansen's Livery and Stable, right? Which is usually run by a Wilhelma, who is a German woman whose husband Arthur was killed in a knife fight. There you go. Just a little background, just a little bit of flavor. But as you arrive, you're immediately horrified to see that there appears to, there are members of Elijah Smythe's gang, and they are riding about through this area, and they are picking up people, and they are laying them over the back of the horses and tying them up, and one horse is already on its way back off towards the outskirts of time. You have arrived mid-kidnapping.
All right. I reckon we're going to have to start shooting.
Okay, so the two of you arrive, pull up your horses frantically. You can see all this chaos ahead of you. The figures that you're looking at don't look hardened. You've heard all of these terrifying things about Elijah Smythe's gang, that they're very talented, that they're very adept. These folks look a little green. So you're not entirely sure of what that means, but they see you. One of them raises his gun at Griff, and another one is going to say, "No, don't shoot that one." And they're going to spin about. And we're going to go straight to dexterity order. There are three of them. One of them is already riding away out of the town. The other two, one of them is off their horse, was in the middle of tying up a civilian. You can't see their face. And the other one is on their horse, civilian, laid over the back, tied up, ready to ride, but does not appear to be actively riding. So I think the first to act is going to be Mac, because you have a prestigious dexterity score.
85 is not taken bad.
And mine is terrible.
I lost track there. Sorry. Is there someone I can shoot who doesn't have a hostage currently? I won't risk shooting them.
Not really. They're all
Not
close
really.
to hostages. The best you'll get is the one who is sitting atop their horse with the hostage laid over the back of the horse. The one who is riding away already is a little bit distant, so it's already going to be a harder shot, and there's a greater risk. And the one who was on the ground was tying up a hostage, so they are literally in front of them.
Gotcha. All right, so go with one on the horse, just the least likely to hit a hostage. My mouse is slowly dying. Wrestling it toward my character sheet, hauling it toward my rifle. There it is. All right, here we go. Success.
Okay, fantastic. There's a crack from your rifle and the bullet slams out. It hits this figure and they go sort of leaning backwards, almost fall out of the saddle. How much damage are we talking?
We're talking 10, which is not bad.
Oh, good God.
Like palpable.
Right. Yeah, that's not insignificant.
Murder.
Please hold while I bring up the details and statistics for this figure.
10's pretty normal. I reckon that's a 50-50 if that's killed him.
Yeah, well, good news. You've or bad news. I don't know how you'll take it. You killed this person.
Great.
So get around. No, don't shoot that one. Shoot. Points to you and gets hit straight in the chest. Slumps down. Doc, does he fall out of the saddle?
Yeah.
Okay, he tumbles out. Doesn't get ridden along, lolling limply on the horse instead.
No, he
tumbles to
probably
the ground.
falls out and then gets trodden on by his horse.
Outstanding.
The
I
betrayal.
love that.
Crushed a little.
And crushed just a bit, tumbles to the ground. The one next to him, who sees now this horse rider, is going to yell, "Jesus!" and yank the person they've tied up and start waving around frantically, using them as a human shield, essentially, waving around this gun. Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me!
That's what he does on his action.
That is what he does on his action.
All right.
The other person as well, your
That's
dexterity.
it. There's the other person's riding away, isn't he?
45, right? For your dex.
Yeah, less 35.
So
I'm real slow.
The one who's riding away continues to ride away. They form, hurrying further and further out towards the outskirts of shade. On your turn, Griff, what are you going to do?
I would like to aim for my whole action. I would just like to take my time and hold it up, and I'm pointing the gun at him, and I would like to grumble to Mac. I'll say I got him if you need.
All right. So you take your whole action to aim. You mutter your intentions towards Mac. Mac, we're going to jump back towards you. Now, this figure is swinging his gun from one of you to the other, yelling, "Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! You get away! Get away!"
We ain't shooting you as long as you're holding the hostage. Now, the only way this is going to end well for you, you put him down, you talk to us, you tell us what you know. Maybe then you get out of this in one piece. Otherwise, can't make any promises.
I wouldn't want to hear that coming from Mac. That's a scary proposition. Make an intimidate check for me and bring your pulp talent into it so that you get a bonus die, which you are going to need.
Because that looks like a
Fantastic.
95.
It looks like a 95, but the truth is, if my mouse...
It's actually 105 somehow.
It's actually blank. There we go. All right.
That counts as
Maybe
a
like
5.
hard reset our character sheets or something, because it's actually a 75, which is
Which
still
is still a success.
Bruh.
All right. So this guy has guns pointed at him, and he knows that he's running out of bargaining chips here. He is going to look from one of you to the other, and he's going to say, "Drop your guns, and I'll let him go."
I'll
No.
nod to Griff.
I'll
I'll slowly holster my rifle back in my saddle.
All right, you put your rifle down. Can I get you to make a psychology test?
Who, me?
Yes.
Well, all right. Is this a terrible idea? Is that...
Today, Jackson.
My goodness.
This is the second one in it.
Straight
I
up.
feel like this is the
When this
second-
dude was 11, his
Okay,
dog
hey.
died. When he was 8,
what really drove him
he
to
moved
crime.
across city. It was very sad.
You
For a,
can't-
for a split second, you are him, and you're looking at Mac.
It's the Ratatouille moment.
Roll sanity, of course. No, you look at this person. You've seen a lot of hardened criminals in your day, and this is not one of them. You are almost immediately certain. First of all, this person is not going to shoot a hostage. This person is not going to shoot Griff. This person probably wouldn't shoot you at this stage. You know, this person is real scared. So you get that knowledge, but just you do. Griff is standing there, like, really intensely aiming down the barrel of this gun, teeth clenched. This is one of Elijah Smythe's gang, and they're not about to get away. You two, drop your gun, you crazy lunatic!
Griff, he just
That
wants
ain't
to go
happening.
home. Griff, he just wants to go home. He ain't gonna hurt anyone.
If he's running with Smythe, he ain't going nowhere.
He's going with us. He's gonna tell us what he knows, and then we'll get Smythe.
Tell him to drop the gun, and then he gets to come with us.
I think he wants you to go first, and he's got the bargaining chip. Just drop your gun, Griff.
I say,
I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all, Marshal.
That's on the record.
Griff, it's your call. You can, you're a man of few words, but it has been clear over these last few sessions how heavily the burden of what Elijah did and the chaos around the hunt for him, or what it's doing to you. And this is another hostage being taken in your name. When they just a moment ago they yelled not to shoot at you. They're playing some kind of game that. What do you want to do?
I don't like games.
my knuckles will whiten for a split second, and then I will drop to like shooting from the hip, and then I'll throw the gun to the ground.
All right, fantastic. He pushes away his prisoner, who stumbles forward but keeps their feet, and he turns, he drops his gun, and he starts running. He jumps onto the horse and starts, go. There's no prisoner on it. He's just trying to get away at this stage.
Can I run up and actually, I just want to like run up to him and sock him in the face. if I
Absolutely.
can.
Make a fighting brawl test for me.
Which I am actually not especially.
Oh, get him with your axe.
Ooh,
Oh.
that is a crit fail.
That is a crit fail. So you sprint up, tearing forward, and just in your confusion and rage, unfortunately, you do walk directly
red
behind a
hands.
horse, and a back leg comes kicking out and connects with your chest, and you find yourself thrown sideways. Make a dodge check for me.
Yep.
Don't you breaking a rib?
Crit to fumble.
I feel like I'm going to take some damage here.
Yeah, okay. So this massive force suddenly connects with your chest, knocks you backwards. Roll a d4 of damage for me as you go tumbling away. And the horse is now going to take off. And, more distressingly, it rides away. Unless you want to, that's painful. Unless you want to do something, Marshall?
Yeah. I'd like to shout out at them. Yeah, I can still hit you from here. You want to stop and turn around?
I'll get another intimidate check from you. This one is going to be.
Oh, do we?
This one's going to be hard because they can see the light. The light.
They're almost away. They've almost gotten away from you, Marshall.
Jamie, must we do this song and dance every time?
Every time.
Same procedure as last year.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, not
10. I would like 10 points of luck for this guy not to get away. That is reasonable.
At first, your words don't seem to have any effect, and you decide that action is the better call. You pick up your rifle and you fire a shot in front of the horse, and it lands just perfectly, kicking up dirt. The horse wheels one way, and you kick up a second one, and eventually it comes trotting back. Very sheepishly, this fellow is looking towards Griff, who is, standing up with a large hoof print. You've got a horseshoe. You actually know that this horse needs new shoes because you can see it's slightly bent. You know it's bruised onto your chest. But they will return. Moments later, Grease, Doc, the collection of you are going to come over and you're going to be able to assess the scene. You've got still inside the bank the body of the Lightning Kid, the recently resurrected Lightning Kid. You have one prisoner, and unfortunately, there were other locations where you heard gunfire, and at those other points, you will soon find out that hostages have been taken and riders have gone tearing away from the town. It would appear that Elijah Smith doesn't just want to draw you to Shade. He wants to draw you to somewhere very, very specific, and is willing to put hostages and use any kind of threat or any kind of person to get you there. We'll jump back into what happens next, but first, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll see you again soon. Thank you to all the cast, and we'll be back in a bit. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the stream of Chaos. Thank you for staying with us during the break. Remember, if you missed the start of this episode, you can find it online on the Chaosium YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed to the Chaosium YouTube channel already or following the Chaosium Twitch channel, please do. It really helps us. You can always unsubscribe later if you don't like it. Anyway, continuing on.
You can just forget and not unsubscribe. Doesn't really hurt, does it?
Exactly. So before we left off, the collection of you have managed to, well, you've really effectively fended off a large part of the attack by Elijah Smythe on the town of Shade. Now, you have gotten some, you have lost some people, and specifically they were taken away on horseback. To where, you don't know, although I will remind you, Griff, that when you were examining the body of the recently re-killed Lightning Kid, you found red dust from the nearby mountains, so presumably somewhere up into the Coquillat Mountains.
Also, we have now a hostage, or at least a captured one of them, who we can interrogate and ask where they want us to go.
Sure. You absolutely do. Now, very quickly, I do want to stress time here. When you bring this person back, and when moments later, Grease, you will arrive. Doc, you may have stayed inside the bank to continue your work. But when you go, you can still see the clouds of dust where you know that the other people who've been kidnapped from the town are being taken. When we're talking about delays here, we're talking about these people potentially getting away. If you'd like, you can just jump on your horses right now, hand over your prisoner to the deputies, and go. You'd have to get the dock, obviously, but you could get out of here pretty quickly, close enough that we would be actually going into a chase rather than a sort of more follow-based kind of situation. It's up to the collection of you. What are you all doing?
Very quickly. Grease is not leaving my sight while he has drunk out of my flask.
I'm fine. I mean, I reckon I feel better than I have in
like it's a monitoring,
weeks.
so like if he leaves, but I'm going to kind of gently insist that he stay nearby for the minute.
Sure.
Just in case that changes your actions, Grease.
I mean, I gotta go and find the others. I mean, they ain't necessarily safe out there without me.
Grease, I think I'm gonna need you to sit down for a little while, just make sure that.
Doc, they don't know that these things can come back. I mean, if they're out there and they killed something and it gets back up, gets after them, I mean, what are they going to do?
Grease, you're currently sitting down. If you stand up for me.
You do stand up. Now, just to let you know, you succeeded at a hard constitution test after having imbibed this, which means that currently you are not suffering any ill effects towards your skills. You are
good.
able to operate, and also you get a fantastic little thing, which is temporary immunity to some sanity loss. So you can, as per the alcohol rules, make yourself immune to losses of 1 sanity or less.
Tremendous stuff.
Unfortunately, this is not a benefit that you will be getting access to, Doc, because you were so adapted to the drug that you have, it's just maintenance for you.
Yeah, no, I have to have like close to much more dangerous levels to get that benefit.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. I mean, if he stands up and he looks all right, and I'd be like, all right, just be careful about like walking near things that might scratch you or hurt you. You're gonna not feel that.
I'm fine. I feel good. I get to the door and then I turn around and I go, oh, hey, can I have my tonic? Did you get a chance to look at that? I just think if I get shot, I'd rather have it than not, especially if you ain't gonna be there for a moment.
Yeah, I wanted to hold on to that little one you gave me, just run a couple of tests on it, as you asked me to. But in the meantime, and I'll pull out the larger one that I got. And be like, I got this for you instead.
A huge jar of snake oil instead of just...
Hell! That must have cost $1.50.
Nah, I figured you could use something to perk you up.
Well, Doc, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it all the same. I give Doc a hug as I take it. I glare at that fucking fish corpse, and then I pocket it, and I'm gonna hustle off and find the others. Yeah.
Can I have my flask back?
Oh, right. I forgot I was carrying it. That's yours.
Yeah. Take that one back off the child.
And I run.
Okay, so you're staying inside to continue your work for the time being, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you
don't know any different. So yeah, I'm continuing the autopsy.
Absolutely. We won't make you roll again because you got such an excellent medicine roll. You can begin your work and you will start to uncover some of the physiological details of the folk from Innsmouth. And as you look at these folks, you begin to understand strange hints and patterns in their anatomy, which draws your mind back to some of the things you've read about in your study of the mythos. Add a point of Cthulhu mythos to your Cthulhu mythos skill, and we'll jump back to when Grease arrives to meet Doc and Griff. The two of you are there. You have your horses. You are looking out towards the clouds of dust that are fading off into the distance. You have your prisoner standing there sheepishly, and Sheriff Otis and some of his posse are heading over towards you. What would the collection of you like to do?
Well, I don't much like the sound of giving chase, not knowing what we're going up against. Let's bring this one back and see what he knows.
I agree with you, Mac. I think that's what they want. They want us to follow them in a hurry and get caught with our metaphorical pants down. We have to play this smart.
All right, then. Well, Grease, do you have anything in particular you want to mention or say?
Yeah, as I walk up, I give them both like a, how do you do? I keep walking to the body of the person they shot, unholster my pistol, squeeze up another shot into its skull, nod in like, reholster it. I come back and I go, the kid got back up.
That's still on against as one.
The kid got back up.
Got back up.
Yeah, attack the dog. Did you know the same thing that most everything else does? So I'm beginning to think this whole mortality thing is a bit more cyclical than they lead us to believe.
We want to slice this one up, make sure it can't crawl away.
I do not at all want to do that. It ain't got a head no more. Just leave the damn thing to rot.
The kid didn't have a head, did he?
No, not much of one, but he had a stake through him as well. He was a mean bastard.
Can I look and see if these ones have the same resemblance as the one that, as the kid?
Normal folks, as far as you can tell.
Yeah. These ones ain't the same as the other ones, Grace. Or is it as a kid, the lightning kid?
I don't know what causes it. I don't know what stops it. I felt it would be safer to shoot him now than regret it later.
Good boy. And I flick you a bullet to make up for the
Gotcha.
one you used.
I put it back in and I'm back to 5. I was absolutely counting them.
Okay, fantastic. So, all right, the collection of you are now heading back towards the bank. That seems to be your general base of operations for the time being. The sheriff is trying to calm down people, and a lot of the deputies, since they are no longer expecting an assault on the bank, are going to scatter and try and resolve the situations at these homesteads that we hit, the stables and the livery and all that kind of situation. You are going to get a earnest and heartfelt thanks from the German woman who owns the livery for having saved her life and the life of her child, presumably. So they both thank you earnestly, and
we may need to borrow some horses. I can't remember who has horses and who don't have horses, but it may be an issue in the future.
Yeah, they will. Such will be provided for you. And you return to the bank where you are going to come in and be able to rejoin the doc, who is still mid-autopsy, working through and having a great time pulling out all these organs, and there seems to be a lot more of them than they should usually be. And this one's only in fish, but you're having a grand time. He's very interested.
Eyeballs.
Oh, perfect.
Fish eyeballs.
So once the collection of you are back and you're able to talk, Marshal Otis is going to be in the room with you to oversee what's going on. He knows here is a little bit out of his depth, and he will step aside to you, Marshal, having now seen a lot of weird stuff. A lot of his deputies saw one of these creatures coming back from the dead, and in a grand way of delegating the problem, he's going to say, well, Marshal, I think it's best if we consider the risen dead and the monstrous organs and, well, they're federal matters.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. We brushed up against a few of them before, but...
More to say that I really felt that I wouldn't want to be treading on the toes of the federal branch of law enforcement.
I understand. You got a duty to your people. Make sure it's safe. Make sure in one piece.
Y'all just let me know if you need anything, and y'all got the run of the town, far as I'm concerned. Sound convenient to you?
Mighty kind of you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have a stiff drink, throw that up, then get to work. And he'll go about his business a little
What a
bit.
charming man.
And that was the best sheriff we've ever met.
Well, I still think he's on top of the
by
pile.
a lot. No, I'm just saying that's the bar
Still
we're
is.
working with. Oh, still is by a lot.
The sheriff at
Nope.
the small town. Nope. Okay. All right.
So we talking about Santa Rosita or
No, not
whatever?
San Rafael.
San Rafael. The sheriff at San Rafael.
Oh, the
Yeah,
one
but
who
he
was
wasn't
also
that-
a general store
He
owner?
wasn't that
Yeah.
impressive.
He was more interested in bargains.
He was friendly,
Exactly.
but he wasn't.
So
He didn't
much-
instill confidence.
No, he did not. All right, so we're riding out.
Mac, not just yet, Grace. Marshall, you would have had some experience in your time getting information out of people who don't want to be given that information. Am I correct?
Yeah, you might be right.
What do you think you can get out of him? And I gesture towards the fella that we have alive.
Oh, ain't no need for that. I'll talk. I swear. I just don't want to get shot.
Oh, that's good. You better talk.
Yeah. No, y'all don't need to do anything untoward. Please. I'll say whatever y'all want me to say.
You just keep in mind that happens that my friend Griff here, that's exactly what he wants.
Oh,
All
God.
sorts of untoward things.
Oh, gee. He does not seem happy, and he seems very happy to talk. He does not want to be at the mercy of bad cop Griff, rather.
All right, start from the beginning. Where did you sign up?
Okay, well, my name's. Can I get somebody to roll a d6 for me?
Someone on it?
He ain't my hostage.
I'm drunk.
3.
Jerry!
What?
I'm from a gang of people: Arizona, Bill, Jerry, Pedro, and Billy. And I'm Jerry. And as by the way, anyway, continue.
Did you say Bill and Billy?
Ben and Billy.
Ben and Bill. Okay, that makes more sense. If there was a Bill and, I guess that's why they're different names, but still, there's a lot of Williams around.
You telling me this gang rolls with a Ben and Jerry?
Oh wow, yeah.
Outstanding.
That was better than mine.
They also wrote it for Arizona and an iced tea. So there you go. No. You're able to. So this guy's basically going to spill his entire guts to you very quickly. Him and his gang are small-time folks who have been hassling the area around Shade for a while. When they were contacted by Elijah Smythe, or more specifically by one of his gang, a man named Thomas O'Neill, who they described as a former soldier. And he was keen to whip them up into shape and show them what they could achieve and teach them how they could really start getting big scores instead of this very small fry couple of pennies here and there. So they were happy enough to help with the gang, even though they were a bit scared of them. They're up in the Coquillat Mountains somewhere. They're not sure of the exact details because they have been staying at a homestead up in the Coquillat Mountains. They can direct you to that, and they get visits from the gang who are held up further into the mountains. But they can get you at least halfway there by telling you the location of the homestead. They were told specifically that they were to come in and they were to take hostages, and they needed to draw, that were going to be used to draw some folks out of the town, and under no circumstance were they to kill Mr. Gutherson, who they have a pretty good description of, and who is pretty distinct looking.
Yeah, it is hard to miss.
Yeah, wouldn't it be convenient if Griff's picture was up right now? I don't think it is, but there you go.
It's Mac. He's next, though. There we go.
Yay! It's distinct.
Right. How many of them folkers up there?
Just a couple, I think, maybe 3 or 4 of them. But we usually only got visited from Mr. O'Neill. Who, sorry, he makes us call him General O'Neill.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't he? So you think there's only 3 or 4 of them, and what? There's 6 of you minus 2, right?
Well, yeah, I guess now. There was only 6 of us.
So now there's 4. That's how numbers work, not letters, numbers. Griff. All right, so about 4 of you and about 4 of them. So it's 8 total.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That ain't. I turned to Mac and I go, that ain't heaps. That's doable.
Yeah. If we got a couple more guns on our side, we can manage pretty well. But the fact is, that's probably what they're expecting still. What can you tell us about where they're holed up, what kind of defenses, what exactly they planning once we get up there?
Well, I can't say I'm rightly sure. They're up in the mountains proper, right way up there, high enough that it gets hard to get up to, you know? We never ain't been heading up there ourselves, but I don't know what business they've got up in that region.
Are most of the folks like rinky-dink, like you, kind of useless and not real keen on committing a murder? Or are they hard, blooded killers?
Well, me and my band, well, it's not my band. We all work together, but
I don't care for your history.
Not us, but the folks that live up high, the folks that live up in the mountains, they're hard. They're real.
So they ain't gonna run off.
Dangerous.
They're gonna fight. They ain't gonna run off. They're gonna fight.
I would think so, yeah.
All right, we'll plan
But
for it.
we may be able to scare off the rest of his band. Like if we go to this homestead, we can scare them folk off pretty easily, and then leave it just with us and them boys at the top.
We done got trained by O'Neill though, and he was an officer in the war, and he's pretty talented. He taught us all kinds of tricks.
Trust me, son. I met plenty of officers in the war. They ain't nothing special.
Okay, if you say so.
I turn to the others. I go,
Anything else you folks want to know, or are we saddling up?
I think that's a
Round up
measure
few
of it.
deputies.
Have you met Smythe?
Smythe, yeah, I met him.
What's your measure of him?
Short. Well, he's short. Like I said, but he's scary. He talks real focused like, Got a crazy look in his eye. Carries a Bible with him.
You seen him do anything weird? Strange? Something you
Weird.
can't explain?
Well, sometimes the way he talks, I could listen to him talk all day. Not that I'd want to, but I would if he asked it.
All right.
I don't like the sound of that.
No, sir. I do not.
Not particularly good news.
All right.
That being said, do you reckon you can get the sheriff to rustle up us a couple of deputies, or does he need them to defend the town or whatnot?
I'll ask if he can spare him.
All right.
I'd be happy to spare you a few extra hands. You want me to come up as well?
Well, if you're more suited to managing things in town, I think they'll need a strong leader inside the walls, depending on what we get up to up there.
Honestly, I think I'd rather come up with a collection of you. I think that they'll want the folks I send up will need a strong hand to guide them. And all due respect to you and your group, but they know me.
That's a fine idea.
All right,
How many can you spare?
Oh,
There'll be 8 of them at least.
well, let's say I bring 4 others apart from I'll bring 3 others, and that'll give us 8 as well.
No
How's
need to
that
be
sound?
stingy. I mean, if you got them, bring them.
We're gonna need some people to hang around the town, make sure that nobody comes back, and keep order. It's a big town, and it does need law enforcement. We can't go tearing off at the drop of a hat. Myself and 3 others, but 3 of the best.
Matt, can I talk to you for a second?
What's on your mind?
I like to shuffle him, and I head over to the away from this group of sheriffs and deputies.
You have to pass by the doc, who is currently peeling open a faceplate.
And I turn to Mac and I go, something. I don't know about this sheriff. He seems a mite eager to help us. In my experience, sheriffs ain't been that eager to help us. Are we sure he's on the level?
Well, if he ain't, all the more reason to keep him with us.
I don't know
makes you
if that's
say-
true.
Well-
I'd rather have the 3 of you at my back and know I can trust you than 8 people I can't.
What exactly is flagging here, Griff? What's the problem?
I don't know. Just roast me the wrong way is all. I don't know. Look, if we go up in a smaller group, we can be quiet. We can sneak up to them, pick some of them off. As I said, there's only maybe 7 of them tops. We already took out 3 of them, and they seem to be in 2 different locations. I just don't know. I don't know about taking this sheriff.
I'll
Do you
try
trust him?
Can I have a retroactive psychology roll by any chance?
Yeah, absolutely. Make a psychology test.
Rolling like a champion tonight.
Extreme psychology.
Look, Mac, if you trust him, I trust you.
Do I trust him?
He seems he's trustworthy.
Thank goodness.
With an extreme success, you know that this guy, as far as he is aware, is totally dedicated and capable to helping the force of the law. Whether that can be corrupted, whether he can be terrified into doing something else, so that's another question. But he and his deputies, and he's going to pick people he trusts.
It's a big town, Griff. Big towns need good sheriffs. They don't last long if they ain't.
All right, if you trust him, I trust you. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just being a bit paranoid. I apologize, Mac.
No, it's good to keep your wits about you. I'm glad to have that.
All right. We'll head over and rejoin the larger circle of people.
Sure. Now, as you rejoin Greece, you've gotten one last piece of information out of this fellow who's pretty happy to kind of natter. He's just spilling his guts, hoping that anything sticks. And you come in just in time to hear this, Griff. Something which may be relevant to the circumstances under which you first met Elijah Smythe. As you're walking forward, he's going to mention, they're real high up, and I know that because there's somewhat up in the mountains there's a village of Navajo, and they have contact with them a lot, talking up there, working together or something, or at least some kind of conversation.
Wait, he's working with the Navajo?
Well, at least, I mean, we get supplies from them every now and again when we need it up at the homestead.
But like talking and like conversing and whatnot.
Yeah. Why?
That don't sound like. I tell you else, this don't sound right. That's not.
Why?
Look,
What's his normal, process?
I mean, last time I knew of him, he was massacring groups of the native folk. He weren't talking to them.
I mean,
He has a religious fervor about him. He don't like the.
I reckon this is a show for you, Griff. He's rounding up the cattle so they can be slaughtered.
Oh yeah, that does sound bad. Look, we gotta move then.
Is there any way that we could get to them Navajo? Go around, not hit them first? Have a quiet discussion with them?
So, passages up in the mountains, something like that, but y'all have to find it yourselves. I couldn't direct.
That might be worth considering.
Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing. They got us to like booby trap the path, stuff like that. Military tactics, the general said, and we had to set up areas that were strong barricades and where we could shoot from behind and all that kind of stuff. And we did our best.
Can you draw us a map?
Really sat on that information, didn't you?
Well, I didn't think it was relevant because our traps
How
weren't
was that not
sufficient, like-
relevant?
Well,
Can you tell us what to watch out for?
yeah,
What's
and
a map
he'll
otherwise?
scribble down a few pieces of
Well, all right then.
information for you.
Suppose he's ready to ride out. No sense in giving him too much time to prepare.
I mean, so is there anything else we can gather? We got horses and we got pistols. We want dynamite. I mean, I'd say armored carriages made for moving money between banks. Any chance this one's got one of them suckers and a great big miniature gun? One of them station ones? Fires out 1,000 rounds?
This is a big
Give that a
town,
go.
and you have the cooperation of the law enforcement here. I am perfectly happy for you to try and grab anything that you can think of that can reasonably be here. Now, for things like that, Grease, make a luck check.
I mean, I feel lucky if this is...
Please don't give Grease a Gatling gun.
If you
Yes, I'm looking up the stats for a Gatling gun now.
I mean, I reckon I'd give it a go.
Oh, a success. There ain't no Gatling gun, but there's an armored carriage.
Outstanding.
It ain't. Can I swap the armored carriage for a bigger gun?
You could if you had gotten an extreme success. Do you want to luck it and maybe you can get a...
I'll take the armored carriage. We'll hook it up to a couple of horses. I mean, that ain't a bad plan. We can pop the sheriff and all of his posse inside of that. We'll ride them in,
Yeah,
and then they
but-
just pop, pop, pop from inside.
I reckon.
I just told us he's riding the peaks. We ain't gonna get a carriage on wheels up
But it's
the side of the
armored.
cliff face.
We may get it up to the homestead though. There must be a track up to there. We ain't gonna get it all the way
Hang
up
on,
to the
hang
top.
on. No,
We can
generally,
get it to the homestead.
hang on. He don't know who's inside of that carriage. We pop the sheriff and his men inside. We make them hoop and holler saying, "Oh, look at us, it's Griff. I'm going to get my retribution." They ride right up the front, bypassing the traps and such, which we've been alerted to. We sneak around the rear, have a speak to Navajo, figure out what's going on, and then stealth attack.
Yeah, it's a mite of a plan. It's a little overly complex. if
In
you're
what way
asking
is
me.
that complex, Griff? There are two elements.
In that there are two elements.
All right, well, I'll run you through them again. They go up in the carriage. We go around the back.
And what, we just leave the sheriff and his
They're in an
deputies,
armored carriage. They use these things to transport money. We know where the traps are. Additionally, he's going to want to monologue at you, Griff. He ain't just going to blow you up. He's going to stand there declaring war on the people and holding his Bible aloft. As long as he thinks Griff's in there, they won't just kill him. They'll want to talk.
Just work. Supposing we set a time when the carriage is gonna roll up, and that way we know when we should make our appearance.
We'll back him up.
It's look, the carriage involvement is definitely
Mandatory.
a must, a mandatory.
We are agreed.
And as for it being full of sheriffs and deputies, I'm on board with that. It is just the idea of leaving them alone to face.
We'll give them a
whatever comes
delay.
out.
We'll get up there first, so we'll be in position
Yeah.
by the time they arrive.
Look, I would like that. I think I would prefer that.
I want to jump across very quickly to Doc. what are you doing during this time? Do you have, apart from, cutting?
Where did you get a knife?
It's a scalpel. I make models.
What do you have?
Huh?
A knife.
Yeah, no, easy. So, do you have any specific questions you want to ask, or any preparations that you want to make yourself? Otherwise, you're continuing to search through the body, and you've increased your Cthulhu mythos through studying it, but you're not getting any particular additional information from it beyond learning. Wow, Griff sure shot this thing real hard.
I think at one point Doc just is focused and then goes, "Do you know these things have 2 bladders?" And then goes back to doing whatever the fuck it is he's doing.
All right, makes sense.
I think actually something that I am interested about. Most amphibious creatures require a level of moisture to maintain their skin texture and also to breathe. That's why frogs have mucus and all that kind of fun stuff, because otherwise they can't breathe. But Griff found one that was covered in dust, so I guess I'm actually curious how these creatures are surviving so far away from water.
Yep. With the medicine check that you got, you would be able to determine that these creatures are human, or at least start human. They have all the same capacities that a human would to be able to survive, and they appear to bit by bit become more and more fish-like in some kind of strange deterioration. Now, this person wasn't particularly far along in that process, so they still had enough human in them to be able to survive away. Now, they certainly weren't comfortable, and you are right that they would have had the equivalent of severe skin irritation and all kinds of problems there, but they were still able to survive using the parts of them that were mostly human.
In that case, then, was it far enough along to have started developing some kind of mucous membrane for the skin?
Yeah, presumably there'd be some sort of small amounts of lovely little slime that you can see. Most of it's dried off, but you can find some under the armpits and stuff like that.
So just because I am moderately fascinated in chemistry, when you mix sulfur dioxide and water, you get sulfuric acid.
Right.
I don't know whether or not Doc has sulfur hanging around, or whether that's something he could find. But the possibility of making some sulfur dioxide, smoke bombs, which, if these creatures are covered in mucous membrane, would, let's go, create skin irritation to an extreme.
Okay, all right, I like that a lot. This is more in the field of chemistry, but I know that pharmacology is your specialty. So I think that you can make.
I have pharmacy and biology and medicine. So.
I think a pharmacy test and with a hard will be suitable. And this is kind of what you're going to be doing. Even as you head out to
this is definitely art playing Joseph at this point, not Joseph being Joseph. This is chemistry. Nope.
Push it.
Oh, I couldn't convince you to spend 8 points of luck. This is just you're out of sulfur. You know exactly how to do it, and you're going, I left. Did I
a regular success?
You could make that a regular success. Oh, it'll make it a regular success. You're right. No, unfortunately not.
Push it.
Yes. Push it. You can push it by. You can push it by putting in another chemical, and you think it'll work, and you won't really be able to test it. But if you deploy it, it may also cause skin irritation for everybody else. So it becomes less kind of like acid bomb for fish people and more just general acid bomb.
That's still an acid bomb.
Can I offer a suggestion? Can you roll the second in secret, and then the Doc gets it and doesn't know which one it is?
Yeah,
if it's
sure.
Good or bad.
You know what? Just a reminder. Joseph doesn't have any guilt anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God damn it.
Please, Jamie, roll on my behalf. My pharmacy is an 82.
Looking for a 41.
And hard would be 41.
Okay, all right. So let me just
Smoke bomb.
roll a hidden. You can see this. That'll be a problem.
If we can see it, it'll be discounted. Okay. No, we did get that one.
Yeah.
You did get that one.
It's
All right, we're going lo-fi.
I'll be surprised if you notice some dice somewhere.
it's like slash G. I think it's slash GM roll. Yeah, Jamie, it's slash GM roll.
I've got these here. This will be fun.
Yeah, let's do it the old-fashioned way.
Also, yeah, then I can't see it either.
And
Yeah, exactly. Right.
okay.
What's your skill?
If you want hard,
What's your
success,
fumble range? No
41.
reason.
40. Okay. All right. Cool.
Hard success is 41. If it's anything over 82, it's just a complete failure.
Okay. Okay.
So now you have a mysterious concoction.
Mysterious
Question,
death bomb.
how many of these do I have?
Clean
Roll a
dozen.
d4.
Yes. This is absolutely.
A mistake.
3 of them. Okay, fantastic. So you're going to hand them out, or you're going to keep them all?
I mean, no one's near me at the moment, so
Yeah.
we'll have that conversation later.
Okay.
Keep him. I'm totally on board for this. I think.
All right. So
My player is showing through.
you're going to get this armored carriage, a couple of horses, and you're going to send the sheriff and the sheriff's deputies inside and send them up the mountain towards the homestead. Meanwhile, the collection of you are going to head up into the Coquillat Mountains yourself and try and search around and find this Navajo village and hopefully be able to talk to some of them so you can get some information about what is happening up at the top or deeper inside.
I feel like we want to move. We want to go earlier. And
Tell them to take 10.
quietly. Sorry.
Tell them to take 10 and follow us up.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we
Well,
want enough time to search for this village. I think an hour, at least. Right?
the mountains are pretty big. You know, this could easily be a day's expedition. You could
Yeah.
tell them to take 2 or 3 hours before heading up.
Okay.
So, is there anything else that the collection of you want to grab? You know, there's plenty that you can look at inside. You could head back to the boxing ring and see if you can find a set of 12-ounce gloves if you'd like. You can be bringing liquor. You could be bringing food. You could go, go and speak to to Otomol and get more of that fancy medicine. If there's
I
anything
already
else you want
got
to collect.
a big old bottle of it.
I don't like that Jamie suggested dynamite again. Like that was his suggestion, so I think we can immediately disregard that because that's probably a bad
That
idea.
seems like a trap.
Did I
Yeah.
suggest dynamite?
You did, and we're
I
keeping track now after the last time.
Dynamite, I think, has a 50-50 success ratio. But
Unless the GM suggested himself, then we're in trouble.
And it always makes things more interesting.
I think we'll probably need some climbing gear. We've made that mistake before.
All right,
I
absolutely.
don't know what
You
kind
can-
of
you
stuff
can
that
pick up
is.
enough
Ropes.
equipment. Yep.
Ropes
So
and hooks.
you can all requisition some rope. All of the standard equipment that you need for climbing, of which I would not really know.
I ain't wearing a
Oh, no,
harness.
carabiners.
North Face jackets. I don't know, whatever.
It slows you down. I like to do free climb.
At the very least, probably pythons.
Nope.
All a good call. So
Shoes with toes in them.
anything else you can think of? Otherwise, it's saddle up and it's heading out.
Dynamite is only 25 cents a stick. That seems like a concern.
That is
I mean-
concerningly cheap.
If
That
it
is-
helps, laudanum's like 4 cents.
Laudanum.
And
Yeah.
those
They
two
just
things
sell that?
mix incredibly well.
That's like I think.
Where would I
$45
Where would
to
I
start.
get some
Huh?
from? Where would I get some from? In case I wanted to have my own concoction, just to be drinking from sometimes. Because it
I
feels
will-
good. It
I will
feels.
not grace that with an answer.
It just
Okay,
feels
well,
like. I mean, it just feels like the superior state of mind. I mean, I feel keen, but kind of cozy. You know.
Well,
but cozy.
speaking of which, Griff, there are very real addiction mechanics in this game.
My name
so
is
I would
Chris.
like you to make a power check.
Griff, roll up.
No, he clearly meant you.
Worth a
not
shot.
doing this again.
Get that up,
wow.
Extreme.
Okay.
You rolled an extreme test on the like constitution check as well. didn't
I
you?
rolled a
Or
hard,
fire?
yeah. I mean, I it turns out I'm
You're
real
really
good with
good
my
at
liquor.
taking laudanum.
I just never
Yeah,
really
you're-
drank
I
it before.
think that your mental fortitude is such that you do not feel the pull at the edges of your mind, and after you come down, you are pretty much as normal.
Cool,
a little
cool.
nauseous and a little itchy, but otherwise good.
Yeah, it's that part ain't great.
It's great when you're currently on laudanum, because
I was a big fan of that.
but
All right,
yeah, you
let's
probably
go
feel
and
a bit queasy.
shoot some bishops or whatever. Griff,
Yep.
rock and roll.
The only thing Doc would like to ensure is that his bag is fully stocked with everything he could need.
Absolutely. He makes sure that he has a full supply of all the tools and bandages and various bits and bobs that he will need to ply his trade. And the collection of you can then head out. And,
Real quick,
May I
real
drop-
quick. Have we
Yeah,
seen? Sorry, you go ahead, Mac.
Oh, may I drop $10 to $25 on a pair of binoculars?
absolutely. Do they go with your coat?
Dan, can we? It's all right.
No, you can get a pair of binoculars. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Have we gotten a chance to look at this armor vehicle? How's it look? Sturdy? Anyone getting in there?
It's a large wooden vehicle that has metal plates put over on the inside. It's pretty uncomfortable. You can see it's like a large sort of bulbous part at the front where people would be able to peek out, and a trapdoor which is only openable from the inside that you could use to pop out and
All right.
take shots. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It has Bank of Shade written across it.
Okay, because I'm talking myself out of a bad idea, which is getting a reporter to hop inside and come along with, assuming he'll be safe and he can document our triumphs. But I reckon if something does happen, I will lose what little karma I have. So best not. And I now believe in karma and the cycle of life, and we are all coming back. I do not want to be a frog. I'm on
The journalist may not be safe in the war wagon.
Yes, probably not. It's all right.
Okay.
All right, let's boogie
So-
woogie.
All right. Fantastic. So the collection of you band together, start readying up the horses. Now you've been in shade for quite a while. It has probably gotten dark. Would you like to head off during the night? Are you going to wait for the morning? What time of day would you like to be heading towards the Coquillat Mountains?
All right, we would like to head off a few hours before dawn
Yep.
with instructions that the war wagon should make its way up to the homestead at dawn.
Like, I love it.
That way we
hell
have sort of a
yeah.
countdown. We can look up at the sky and at any moment know, okay, we need to hustle to meet this wagon.
I love it.
I will
Right.
gently remind everyone that everything we have ever come across really likes nighttime.
Well,
I
dawn
think
will
the snake's
be.
like the day.
No, the dead things were the only things that were like slightly more active, maybe, although I don't think it really mattered. Snakes, they liked warm,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's why this is perfect, because we're going at night, but it's slowly becoming the day.
Also, if we can be coming up so that the sun's behind us and everything, A, cool silhouettes, B, harder to shoot you because I got the sun in their eyes.
Long as they got hostages, I don't think we got too much time to waste.
I agree. Let's get Rosen.
So you take off at night and you begin to ride through. Under the cover of shadow, it's going to be very difficult to spot you moving across the desert towards the mountains themselves. And you find that you know this sense of this strange prickling sense of being watched that you've had for a while, ever since you left San Rafael, is gone. The bait has been laid in the trap, and they don't need to watch you so much anymore to know that you will be approaching, heading deeper into the mountains. For now, they can wait. A collection of you ride off, and when the sun rises, casting a blood-red glow across the sands, you're silhouetted by the lights as you reach the base of the mountains and begin your ascent. You can ride up the main path and begin to branch off it as you get a little bit higher, or you can go straight round to the back, and it sounds like you're doing the latter. So you head straight round to the back, staying in the shadow of the mountains until you see the town of Shade slowly fade, and you begin to weave through more difficult terrain. There is scrub all about you, and soon you're completely off the paths, and you can just see these long, flat expanses of New Mexico stretched out before you, occasionally broken up by a rising ridge or some kind of stone natural formation in the distance. You move around until you hit the back of this mountainous area, and it's a whole ridge, but you found an area that you think would be pretty good to ascend. I've got 2 questions for you. The first is, you want an easy ascent? We can maybe bring up some horses too, but it will be A, slower, and B, more difficult to stay hidden. Or do you want to try and really do some climbing, and as a result be bolting straight up the side of the mountain, heading straight for the top, hidden and safe, presumably?
I reckon we climb.
Based on who we have here, I think we have to do the easier one.
We're going to abandon these horses in 20 minutes anyway.
Now remember, you do have climbing equipment, so you will be making your climb checks with a bonus die if you decide to make climb checks.
Can we do an easier one and not take the horses?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You could tie them up down here and head up.
We ain't strong climbers, I think.
Yeah, I think we have to be a bit safe.
Okay.
So we're gonna go with the easier option.
All right. You tie up your horses down here and you begin to try and ascend the best you can, clambering about. You have to do a little bit of weaving, and it is possible that you are following some kind of game path or something that was at some point a path through these mountains, but you don't see any tracks or evidence of travel across the thing as you head further and further up. I would like somebody to roll for me just a general D100 as dawn breaks and the sun begins to move more severely across the sky to decide what is going to be happening over at the farm.
I got it. 75.
Okay, 75. That's good to know.
I feel good about that.
It's
Seemed
a
like
good
a strong
number.
roll.
It's a good divisible number. I
Yeah.
like it.
Can I get the person with the best listen score to make a listen check?
Give that a gander.
Nope.
15?
I'm deaf. I'm below base.
I reckon it might be me. I'm looking at 26.
53.
I reckon it's yours, Doc.
Doc has to listen to people.
Yeah. It's it's long and terrible.
Oh, 6 points.
Yeah, sure.
It's not a huge. I don't want you to head buyer's remorse here. It's not a huge bit of information, but you're welcome to it. 6 points.
6 points is so little, though.
Please hold.
Please. Dun, 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 dun.
Not go for me for name of please. Anything but that. No, actually, I really like that song.
It's just 6 points.
Yeah, but
Wafer thin.
What if there's another chance to get a miniature gun later and you miss it by
That's like-
6?
10% of what I have.
Yeah, no, you hold on to that. Luck is yours. You don't
I
ever
spent
spend
a lot
it.
of luck doing other things, so nah. It's fine.
Holding
Yeah,
on.
okay.
Okay, excellent. You continue to climb and you do not hear any sounds to disturb you from the direction of the homestead. So you assume that things have gone relatively well and you continue your ascent without any trouble. There would have been a long scene here where you would have had to have decided what to do with the horses as you come up to an area where it's going to be completely impossible to bring these beasts any further. But you don't have to worry about that. Instead, the collection of you are scrambling up these rocks and jumping from one to the other. It's not exactly a full climb. I'm not going to make you roll here because you can take your time, but you are helping each other up, boosting each other onto ledges. You even have to deploy a rope once or twice and help people pull and scramble further and further up. Now, you start to feel a little bit like you're at home, Griff. You know mountains pretty well. And since you know mountains pretty well, you know the patterns of animals and survival pretty well. Can I get you to make a survival check?
Yeah, I'd love to. Oof.
Okay.
40
Pretty bad.
points.
All right. So
40 points?
there's something that is playing at the back of your mind that is making you feel just a little bit tense. You don't feel safe. It's not that same feeling of being observed, but you've missed something. You know you've missed something. And You've had a lot of bad experiences running too quickly into things. You blew yourself up when you tore across that landmine, but then again, sometimes running into things has really helped. When you ran into that situation and took the shot at the lightning kid, that really helped. Would you like to push this roll and stop for an hour or so, take a rest, and try and remember what it is that you've missed, but be aware that you will be slowed down in your chase, and people heading up into the mountain will have more and more of a lead.
Can I push with a natural world check, or is it not that sort of a vibe?
You can push with a natural world check, sure. I think that is fair.
Okay. I'll hold everyone up for a second and just go. Hold on a second. Take a rest for a second. I need to examine something, and I will make a check with natural world.
You stopped and you all packed some food. So there's dried bread, little bits of meat. You stop by, you have a drink. Yep, Doc?
Joseph pulls out a few small vials of formaldehyde with fish bits in it and keeps like looking at them and writing notes.
Oh my god, fantastic.
You
I
have
thought
to
you were
bring
going to
that.
eat them for a second. I was like, oh no. But no, you're working on it.
I mean, he's probably gone like he's done the sniff test on a few things and been like, what is this? Does it smell human? Does it smell different? Like that's a thing that he'd do. So
If it smells of the sea, that's how you know it's fresh. This does not smell of the sea.
I mean, this definitely currently smells like formaldehyde, which
Yes, you're exactly right.
so no, it's just like, hey, look, an eyeball.
Griff, it doesn't take you long to realize. You don't, because you've succeeded, you don't get the penalties of the pushed roll. So you've only been stopped for about 5 minutes when you hear the call of a buzzard up ahead, and suddenly it clicks. There's buzzards circling up ahead, and they won't be doing that unless they've been disturbed in some way. Now, you might think that some people see carrion birds and they're immediately like, oh, dead body is going to be scattered everywhere. Not always. And as a survivalist, you know this. They've been disturbed. There's something up. There's something that is making them uncomfortable. Now, it could be a bunch of corpses, although generally then they'd actually be on the ground pecking. This tends to be what happens when the battle is still happening, or more often when people are moving through their territory.
Yeah, they follow people around because people tend to leave food behind them. All right, well, we know where we're headed now. Let's see what's under them birds.
All right. Once you start heading up towards that area, you realize that you're getting pretty close to the main path again. You've come up a prestigiously quick shortcut, but you are now looping back to where you will rejoin the path unless you decide to loop out further and try and do another climb. Staring ahead, you can see the area that the buzzards are circling appears to overlook the main road. There's no sign of the covered wagon or the sheriff here, and you can't see the homestead further down. You're quite deep in the mountains at this stage, and you're seeing the same dust around you that you noticed on the body of the lightning kid. You've got two choices here. Get back onto the main path and head towards where the buzzards are, or one or more of you can try and climb, and then you could possibly get to where the buzzards are, like with a position of oversight, basically sneak up on them.
Hey, Mac.
Yeah.
You got them knockies? Can you get an eyeball in the armored wagon? Is it making trails, or can you see it yet?
The binoculars.
Yeah, knockies.
We are suddenly Australian.
Come on, you want some small potato-like pasta? I don't.
Oh, if you got gnocchi, I'll swap you. I only bought licorice.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If we're lower down, will binoculars help? Can I take a gander or?
Absolutely. You stand up on top of the rocks and you can make a spot hidden check with a bonus die. Actually, no, don't make it with a bonus die. The ability to try and spot the wagon at all is going to be enabled because of these binoculars. So just make it with standard.
Are you looking for the wagon, or are you looking at what's disturbing the buzzards?
I thought you were looking at the wagon. Or for the wagon.
Grace said wagon.
Oh, I was looking up at the
Angle's not right
buzzards.
from here.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was concerned about. All right, so I'm going to take a look for the wagon. 24.
Hard success.
Okay. Standing up, and you manage to make out the hazy shapes of the homestead in the distance, and you can see that the wagon appears to be parked right outside the homestead. You can't see any shapes moving around. There doesn't appear to be anybody, but it is there and it is not moving. You can see that the horses have actually been taken off and let to, like, they've been tied up around the house and the wagon itself.
Perplexing.
Curious.
Is that not not what we were expecting.
I thought we were all gonna go in together, but it's fine. All right, well, let's go take a look at who's overwatching this thing under these buzzards.
Okay. Are you going to head up the main road, or are you going to climb up and get that alternate?
I was going to say this might be a little time for Griff and Grease go off by themselves, stir up some trouble.
Hooray!
I turn to the other two, like not any disrespect, but
Y'all can't climb so good.
Yeah, climbing and sneaking ain't your fortes.
Just turns around with like what looks to be some kind of strange piece of intestine wound around in some kind of jar, and it's just like, what?
I tell you what.
Very good.
Why don't you two head around to the other side so that if they run away from us, they'll run into you.
Fine.
The two of you are heading up the main path, and the two of you are climbing.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. I need climb checks from both of you, and since you have climbing equipment, you can make it. You can both make it with a bonus die.
Very good.
Okay, fantastic. You're both going to need the bonus die.
Let's re-roll that.
That's why we have a bonus die.
1 point off a hard if it would help.
Okay, all right. That is not great.
Daniel's 16 off.
Yeah, I'll take 16 points.
Or you could push it, right? If the situation allows.
You can push it. Do you have the luck to spare? I know you spent a lot getting that perfect shot against the.
Oh, I tell you what, I've got it. You
got it.
16 points of luck are down the drain.
Need it further?
All right, let's
look. It's done. It's done. It's
done.
In the past.
The two of you are scrambling up the rocks, quick smart. Once again, you've got this methodical climber that is Griff taking his time looking for every fissure, and then the scrambling, light and lithe Grease, who is relaxed through the whole thing, unless either of you have gone through a sudden change in climbing style, but I don't think that's the case.
Nope.
As the two of you are walking, I want to ask Mac a couple of questions. Mac, you mentioned that you served in the war. Do you want to talk a little bit about Mac's experience in the war?
Yeah. Well, the U.S. Marshals were primarily concerned with, I think, intelligence gathering amongst the rebels, amongst the Confederate soldiers. So that's what he was up to. He's from Georgia. He's from the South. So he would kind of slip in and figure out exactly what they were riling up, and figure out what they were planning, and get that information back to the feds.
All right, fantastic. Does Mac look back upon the time that he spent in the war with a positive light, or is it a shadow in his memory? He's had a rough life, so.
It was his calling. I don't know if he looks fondly upon it, but it's what had to be done.
What was the worst experience that Mac had during the war?
Probably getting pinned down in a battlefield with cannons raining down.
Okay.
You don't want the sensation of the shock wave from a 16-pound cannonball landing next to your head.
Absolutely. Those kind of things, they're hard to forget. You still got a ringing in your ears, which is why you fail all these listen checks.
No, that was the dynamite.
Okay, right. But you managed to get through that. You pushed through, and the damage that was done to your mind from those experiences, you managed to bottle them in. Not everyone did. And there is a man who is, forcing people to call himself general, a man named Thomas O'Neill. He was in a similar situation, might have even been the same battlefield, and he did not manage to get out of the situation unscathed. He came through with a broken mind, a mind that was supple and ready to be molded by Elijah Smythe and pulled towards strange worship of strange beings at strange places in the mountains. But Thomas O'Neill is, above everything, a soldier, and he's a good soldier, and he plans well. He's not a survivalist, though, which means he didn't think of the buzzards when he was setting up a sniper's nest overlooking the main road, preparing to see people coming in and preparing to start taking shots to whittle down the companions of Mr. Gutherson, get him riled up, make him more likely to go to where he needs to be. Since he didn't think of the buzzards, the two of you are able to get up pretty close, and I need both of you to make a stealth check to be able to get up to this sniper's nest without him seeing you at all.
Stealth at 24.
So far. This is us, right? Griff and
It's
Grace,
us, Griff
or
and- Griff and Grace.
Mac and
Griff.
Who are you
Doc?
talking to? Who are you talking to?
Jim?
I'm talking to Griff and Grease.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
The one sneaking.
Looking at the screen is not great when we're all
Wrong
on
skill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it is.
Sleight of hand.
Ah! Got him.
All right. So with a hard success and an extreme success, the two of you are going to manage to completely sneak up upon the sniper. You sort of stop nattering, and with an extreme success, Grease, and you are a little further up ahead. You throw yourself over a lip of rock, and you see right up ahead of you a backpack and a sort of small collection. You can see boot prints leading up to a ledge, and you immediately realize what's happened. I don't know. Do you make a motion to Griff? What's the...
Does he? Can I? Griff will see me. Griff knows what's up. Is he looking through a scope?
He's going to be just around the corner, so you haven't got an angle on him yet.
I want to, if I can, if he's got a beeline there, I want to go under his field of view so that I can pop up in front of him.
All right. So you motion to Griff. Griff gets up next to you, and you start to edge along. This is a full Assassin's Creed move. You are actually coming underneath the ledge of where you know this sniper is, moving further and further across. Griff, you pull yourself over, and you can peek around just a little bit and see up ahead the shape of a figure leaning down and staring into a rifle. Doc, can I get you to describe for me a grizzled soldier? What does this perfect sniper look like?
Has anyone played Metal Gear Solid 3, I think, with the end? I think it's 3.
I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's just like grizzled old man with a white beard and white hair. He's got a pet parrot that
He's got a parrot.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, he's got a
buzzard.
really bad tattoo of a parrot.
Yeah, like I'm describing the end, but yeah, like it's just this grizzled old guy and like really bad sort of actually no, it'd be pretty decent, like it wouldn't be camo print, but like something that melds him into the dust. Kind of like roomy eyes, and yet he's still able to like pinpoint focus when he has to. Yeah, it's the end from Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear, one of them.
Yeah, whichever one it is.
Hell yeah.
I think it is
parrot, folks. It really messes him up.
So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to adjust your game clock to beat the sniper, which I believe is the way that you have to beat him in Metal Gear Solid. But instead, this person has managed to keep focused. Kept focused during the war, and that's how they got through the battlefield at all. And now that focus, that laser-like focus, is set towards the road, and you can see the dust beginning to rise since the doc and the marshal are getting closer and closer. You are now edging below. Griff, you are coming up behind this figure. You shot dead my gunslinger from a mile away. Now you've both got in melee range of my sniper. So as the two of you approach, tell me, how does this go?
I wait until I can see Griff's in position, and then, unless you want it, I'll take the lead.
No, you by all means.
All right.
You see this like tiny little head pop up at the side, that literally just next to where.
No, I want to go just up, so I'm in his scope. I go, "Morning, champion," and then I'm gonna try and throw him over the. Fuck, we're just killing him. I was gonna try and throw him over.
Okay, morning, champion. He jumps about a foot in the air.
Kick him, Griff.
Combat. Make me a fighting brawl check. This is gonna be a combat maneuver.
Can I be assisting Griff? Griff, is that the best way for us to do this? Is that what we want to be arguing for?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna go and like hit him with my axe. So.
But it's great if we throw him over the edge, right?
It is. Knock him forward, and Grease grabs him and pulls backwards. So Griff, you can make this fighting brawl check, and you can do it with a die of advantage.
Oof, I don't love fighting brawl.
Mine's pretty bad too.
I think it might be better if I just hit him with my axe.
All right. Can I try and throw him over the edge and he hits him with the axe? All right.
Yeah. You just have a go at throwing him over the edge.
Oh, that's only 12 points of luck.
I'm so tempted. I really should chuck him.
And you know what? Do you know what the biggest thing is? That since you did this with surprise, you snuck right up to him. He does not get a chance to contest this.
Howdy.
So if you succeed, he is going over the edge.
Do you want it, Griff? Otherwise, I'll spend luck.
Take
All
it.
right, I spend 12 points of luck. See you, sucker.
All right. perfect sniper, trained killer, leaning over the edge, ready to go. Morning, champion!
Morning, champion!
Whoa! And you just pull this fellow forward. He goes tumbling straight forward. The gun clatters to the ground. You get a flash of a tattoo of a parrot on his hand before he goes tumbling. The two of you are walking along the main road when you suddenly see this figure come slamming down on the rocks in front of you. Now, of course, in a desperate attempt to survive... Oh, sorry, Doc.
I was going to say, are we alerted to his fall by a Wilhelm-esque scream?
Absolutely. Yes, there is
There goes
a
stealth.
long howl.
Lovely. Sorry, go ahead.
You know, he's going to make a jump check to try and survive. I see no reason that he would be trained in jump. I'm going to give him 5 points in jump because it feels extra.
I think base is 20. Oh, yeah.
Base is 20. He's going to get up to 25 to have a sporting chance. And as he goes tumbling
Ain't
down...
nothing sporting about. Ooh, ho, 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 ho. He's close.
He lands... Gosh, look, at this height, he's really in a sniper's nest. Oh, God. It's just going to be luck of the draw. I'll tell you what, Mac, he's your Civil War colleague, so to speak. Can you roll 2d10 for me?
I can. And I have 14.
Yeah, he's not getting back up. You're literally walking and then just a body slams down in front of you. And you can see mottled sort of like uniform in the same color as the dust of the trees around you. A couple of seconds later, a long rifle lands in the ground and snaps. You can see this person has styled themselves with scuffed medals.
As he lands, I turn to Grace and I go, I'd like to see him try to rise again.
He ain't doing it, is he? I do watch.
I think
A moment.
Joseph's just like gonna go have a look and like prod it to make sure it's actually dead at this point.
It appears to be pretty gosh darn dead.
I'll then wait. I presume I'll wait to see if Mac has a look at us. Otherwise, when they look at us, we'll do like a... And then we'll keep going.
All right, perfect.
Basically going, we're good. The plan continues.
You continue along, heading further through the path, leaving behind you the small hut and continuing into the mountains proper. As you start to get further and further up, you are going to come past a small section of stone laid into a thin passageway that heads off the main path. Can I get somebody to make a history check?
No.
I will... Oh, see, I'm going to go better than 20?
Is 5?
I have base because the doc knows medicine. Not
Give it a go.
Oof.
I'm sure it's fascinating, Jamie.
It's darn fascinating.
But
You
we'll
can tell
never
it to the
know.
next group of players.
Pretty darn fascinating.
We see a side passage and Matt goes, huh, weird.
Well, it's the way that you think you have to go. So you are going to continue, but I'm not going to give your characters details of what lies ahead. Instead, as you head further up into the mountains, for suspense and for secrecy, I want you to think of a Navajo village further up that are desperately crowded into one tent around a wounded figure, discussing exactly what they're going to do. I want you to think of a hidden lake at the top of a mountain, watched over by a large Spanish fort. And I want you to think of the man inside who is waiting for Griff Gutherson, because he is the only one who can complete the ritual. And we're going to see you all next week. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Hey.
It's great to have you. Remember, if you are not already subscribed to the channel on YouTube or on Twitch, please do it. Helps us a lot. And we will see you all next week. Thank you to Jackson. Thank you to Daniel. Thank you to Art. Thank you to David. Does anyone have
Thank you to you.
Susan? Yeah, I mean,
I love it always.
the other big one is PAX Online's currently happening, and we've got a whole slew of panels and games being played. I actually have some dates. I know there's like a community content panel on getting into like writing in the RPG industry. That's tomorrow. There's gonna be 7th Sea live plays. We just had a RuneQuest one, but that's gonna be going up on the YouTube channel right about now-ish. There's gonna be a Call of Cthulhu game and some more panels. So check out them and check out the Chaosium YouTube to catch that there.
And remember, Saturday night, you can catch up the White Bull RuneQuest campaign. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.